Hey y'all, it's Alec, the Road Warrior Prepper. Today we're going to talk about why we chose a Class A motorhome over a conventional trailer, like pull behind, or a fifth wheel. And then we will discuss a little bit why I paired it with a Jeep Wrangler and got rid of my Ford Edge. So first of all, let me flip this. This is our 2019 motorhome. It's 32 foot. It's an open road by Tiffin. It's got two slide outs. I tried to find something without a slide out that would meet our needs, but with two dogs and my wife and I decided that we would get as few slides as possible, but we needed the room. So I do have two slides. Before this, we had a Coachman Murata. I have decided you do get what you pay for. And we had terrible problems with the Coachman. I got rid of it. And now we are in the Tiffin, which we've had this for 4 years and very little problems. So, you know, all campers, pretty much, conventional trailers, fifth wheels, and Class A motorhomes, and most Class Cs are self-contained to an extent. What do I mean by that? Well, a travel trailer has fresh water on it. A travel trailer has a black tank. A travel trailer has a gray tank. So all those things are consistent. However, we have a 7,000 kW generator, and I paired that with an Autogen Magnum 2000. So where our Class C that we had when we were weekenders had a small generator, it did not have Autogen option. Our Coachman did not have Autogen option, but I've talked to a lot of people who have fifth wheels, and very few fifth wheels come with a generator. And I've never met anybody that has a conventional trailer that has a generator. So why is the generator important? Well, you need to be self-contained. Let's say the power grid goes down from a freak storm. We had some people that were down in Florida that when hurricane came through, they were without power for like 6 hours. Remember 2 or 3 years ago, I think it was 2 years ago, when Texas had that big winter storm, Dennis and Dottie were without power for a week. Well, we have a generator, and they were in a fifth wheel, no generator. So we would be able to crank our generator and run it, and we would have power. Matter of fact, Dennis and Dottie were down in Texas. They had a neighbor that had a generator that let them run a extension cord with so they could plug in their little portable electric heater so they could have heat in their fifth wheel while there was no power. That was very nice. So I've added 2 extra batteries. So most motorhomes come with 2 batteries. I have 4 batteries, lead acid batteries, and they are self-contained in the motorhome. A lot of people that have fifth wheels, they have 2 batteries, or most travel trailers, we had a Coleman at one point, had place for 1 battery. Well, the little batteries, they don't carry a lot. Now, unfortunately, carry a lot of power. Unfortunately, I have 4 golf cart batteries, lead acid. You can only take down to 50%. I am saving for lithium. My coach can sustain lithium batteries, so lithium will give us a lot more power, but they're $800–900 a battery. So we have self-contained, we have a generator, We also have, I talked about the auto gen. What is an auto gen? So I had a Magnum 2000 put in the camper. It wasn't cheap, but I can set it. And I'll tell you an example when it came in handy. I leave it on all the time. We have a full coach inverter. That's part of the Magnum. I just leave it on. So we're just constantly charging the batteries, and we're using the batteries when we're plugged in, and everything's going through the inverter. The only thing that doesn't is air conditioning, microwave, and fireplace. But the other morning, I wake up, the generator's running. Power went out in the campground for 2 hours that we're at, and it was warm outside. The air conditioner turned on, and with the generator. So with the auto gen system, if I've got mine set to where if our battery bank gets below 12.1 volts, which is 50% on a lead acid 12 volt system, the generator will crank and run for an hour and a half. Also have it set up to where if it gets above 74 degrees in the coach, it'll crank up, the air conditioners will turn on, and then it'll run for a half hour past the time that the camper is cooled and maintained. That temperature wise, that important. We were camped in Virginia 2 years ago. It was 92 degrees outside. We were in the Shenandoah National Park, and we were hiking part of the Appalachian Trail. We were gone for 10 or 11 hours, and power went out in the campground. They had a brownout, and generator cranked because it was, like I said, 90 something degrees, and it ran the whole time we were gone, keeping the animals cool. So it's for the health of the animals, the health of my family. So that's an important reason. The other thing you have to consider when you are buying a motorhome or travel trailer, fifth wheel as your ultimate bug out vehicle is capacity. We had, our coachman had very little fresh water, had very little black tank capacity, gray tank capacity. So we were constantly, if we were boondocking, we were constantly having to find somewhere to empty those systems or fill up the water. We have, like, I don't know exactly, I've got it written down inside, but I think we have 62 gallons of fresh water. As soon as I pull into a park, I fill that up. When I travel, I put it at least a third full, so we have water while we're on the moving. You never know when, like, this campground's on a well. I told you the other morning the power went out. Well, guess what? If it's on a well, if the power's out, you don't have water either. We had water. So make sure you have large tanks. We have 60, I think it's 62 gallons, if I remember correctly, of fresh water. We have about 60 gallons of gray water, and I think it's 42 gallons of black water. So we're able to sustain ourselves off grid for quite a while. Other thing you want to check on is fuel capacity. If you've got a fifth wheel or a conventional trailer, now some of the toy haulers do have a place for fuel for the generator, but for the most part, you have to have a portable generator and you have to carry a couple 5-gallon jugs. Well, before I park, I always fill the motorhome up. My motorhome holds 90 gallons of gas. Now you can only use 3/4 of that for the generator because at the quarter fill mark on the gas tank, it no longer will provide gas to the generator. So we always fill up. We have 75% of 90 gallons. With our battery bank and our generator, we can go weeks without having to worry about getting fuel. That can make it through any short-term SHFT or SHTF situation, or like in Texas when they had the winter storm hit and they were without power for a week or 10 days or whatever. We could have sustained all the way through that on our batteries and our gas. Once power was restored, we could continue on. The other reason we like to have a motorhome over a conventional or fifth wheel is about 3 years ago, we were boondocking in Tuscaloosa, Alabama at a Walmart for the night. I think we were headed to Texas, but don't quote me on it. But anyway, we were camped in Tuscaloosa at a Walmart, and we were next to an apartment complex, which I did not know was a Section 8 apartment complex. We read the reviews about the Walmart on Allstays, which is the camping app we use to find boondocking spots. And I didn't see any negative reviews, but at close to midnight, heard several gunshots coming from the parking lot next door at the apartment complex. Well, with a motorhome, I never had to leave. I leave the Jeep hooked up to the back, and Cindy goes, "What is that?" I said, "It sounded like gunshots." She said, "Get me out of here." I cranked up the engine. We drove away. We never had to exit our vehicle. We never had to do anything. All we had to do is crank and go. I don't open any slides when we travel. We made sure we had a layout that we could get all the way through. We can get in the bed, we can get in the bathroom, we can get in the kitchen, do the whole thing without opening it up. When we travel, if I'm boondocking, it's never open, never open. We're always ready to go. We moved 7 miles down the road. Cindy got on Allstays, found another spot. I think it was a Cracker Barrel. We pulled in, went to bed, we were safe for the night. So that's why we pick a motorhome over a travel trailer or a fifth wheel. Many of y'all already probably have fifth wheels or travel trailers. You can make those do. You can get a portable generator. You can get a bladder to carry extra water. I just like having it simple. I like having to be able, I have everything I need. We can make it several weeks. I keep two weeks of food in the camper at all times. It's our home, so it makes it a little bit easier, but we love it. And that's why I think the Class A motorhome is better as a bug out vehicle than a fifth wheel or a travel trailer. If you were in the Tuscaloosa parking lot where we were and heard gunshots, you'd have to risk leaving your travel trailer to get to your truck, or your fifth wheel to get your truck. And a lot of the fifth wheel designs, you'd also have to hope that your slides would close, and it would take you 15-20 minutes to be able to make a quick escape, where all I had to do was slide in the captain's chair, maybe move the dog or cat out of the way, crank up and go. So real quick, why do we like the Jeep? We paired it with the 2019 Wrangler, and this is the Jeep right here. There's not a lot you have to do to prepare it. We had a Ford Edge, so to prepare it for travel, I had to, well, you had to keep the battery on a battery tender because all the electronics would drain the battery. You'd have to stop every 4 hours, crank the engine, make sure it would start. To put the transfer case in neutral, there was a series of like 5 things you had to do, and it just took too long. With the Jeep, I don't have to worry about the battery going dead. The electronics don't stay on. I leave the brake buddy hooked up, and all I have to do is put the transfer case in neutral, just pulling one lever down 2 notches. It can stay hooked up to the Jeep, can hook up to the motorhome for a week at a time or whatever, and the battery doesn't go dead. There's no extra maintenance. I don't have anything to reset. And so, like in Tuscaloosa, all we had to do is put the motorhome in drive, Jeep's hooked up behind it, and we follow it. Also, when we are not in a travel mode, when we're parked somewhere doing one of our work camping gigs, then the Jeep makes it easier to explore. And also, if we had to go gathering or hunting or whatever we had to for food, if we did have a SHTF situation, then the Jeep is a lot more capable than a sedan or an SUV. It's 4-wheel drive to go places. So anyway, stay tuned for more adventuring and prepping, and hit like and subscribe. We are affiliates to Amazon. If you check below, you can get to our link and help us out a little bit with an Amazon purchase. Stay safe out there. I'll see you next time.